The choice has really been very effective in Arkansas. Alone, over 4,500 community providers are providing veterans with quality care, with close to 13,000 individual veterans being served between July 2015 and November 2016. So that's really a good story, and we really do appreciate the efforts. And I know you've been right in the middle of that. The IG report that came out, talked about cumbersome authorization and scheduling. Can you talk a little bit about both of those things, and really, in particular, the scheduling aspect? That's something that I know that, with your background, you're very, very familiar, and it is a solvable problem. Can you talk a little bit about how we do a better job of getting that done?
So, Senator, the two things on the IG report on choice and on scheduling, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The IG report, which just recently came out on the choice program, covered a time period from November 2014 to September 2015. And it described, I think accurately, a program that was in disarray. Since then, we've made, with your help, 4 changes to the law, 50 contract modifications. We've completely changed the ability, so now VA employees can make outbound calls. We've changed the episode from 60 days to a year. We've made this a much, much different program than it is today, and we can see the result. More veterans are able to schedule appointments. We now have over 1 million choice appointments that have been scheduled by veterans, which is a good thing. Or 1 million veterans have used the choice program, 6 million appointments. In terms of scheduling, we still have not given our employees the right tools to be able to do their job well. They are using what I would call old blue DOS screens to schedule, and I don't know how they even do their job. Thank God they're so good at what they do. We need to give them new tools. I have asked, and we are moving forward with a commercial scheduling product for scheduling. It is called MASS. We also have an internal scheduling program. We call it, because everything has an acronym in VA called VSE. That will be ready for a decision on February 10th, whether it is a go, no go. It is deployed to about 10 sites where it's being tested by our employees, and we're going to make a decision on that as well. So bottom line is we need a new scheduling system. We've known that for years. We're finally going to do it.
Good, very good. One thing that's come up, I know that we've struggled forever with the process disability compensation claims to try and get those done in a timely manner. I've been on the committee now in the House and the Senate for 15 or 16 years, and this is something that just has always been a problem. I know that you've worked on it really hard, and the numbers have come down. That's a good thing. Particularly the backlog to receive medical disability exams. I think one time it was 600,000. We're down now to closer to 60,000 and moving in the right direction. I guess recently we've redone the contracts and things. There's some concern that the people that did such a good job in getting it in this situation, we've got new folks coming in, and there's concern that they don't have the resources to actually in a timely fashion get set up and get the job done. What we don't want to do is get ourselves back in the situation of having can you just talk about that and kind of talk about the concern?
I think you're correct. We have decided to take on a new contract, to outsource a contract to a vendor. We awarded that. That was protested by 2 companies that did not win the award. The GAO actually took a look at our process and said that VA did things correctly, but this is now being considered through a court process. And we heard today that we're likely to hear back on that protest through the courts in June. Until then, we have a bridge contract, and I spoke to our acting undersecretary today, our acting undersecretary of benefits, who assures me that veterans are getting the CMP exams that they need, that we are not seeing a delay because we are able to use the bridge contract as well as those clinicians who work in VHA. So we have to wait till June, and we'll see what the resolution is through the courts.
Very good. One further thing, and then we're running out of time. You're a private sector guy. You've run all kinds of operations, been very, very successful. You've had the ability in those entities to hold people accountable. Can you talk a little bit about what you need to do and what tools we need to give you? Marco Rubio has a bill, others have bills. Tell us a little bit about that. That's
Yeah.
just a basic component of running a good.
Absolutely. When I talk about the tools that a secretary needs to do their job, a basic function of any chief executive is to be able to get the right people working in the organization, and those that do stray from the values that we hold have to leave the organization. We don't currently have that right on either side, so I see this as a dual-pronged process. For those employees that really don't belong in the organization, the secretary needs the ability to be able to remove them. We were given expedited authority to remove employees through the Choice Act that you gave us. Unfortunately, it was determined to be unconstitutional, and now the Department of Justice did not choose to go and to defend that. So we're going to need new tools, and I'm going to need to come back to you, and we need to figure out a way that we can make what you wanted to happen work better and make it constitutional. On the other side, a secretary also needs the ability to retain, reward, and recruit those types of employees that we all want serving veterans. And we have been hampered in our ability to use the tools that we once had to be able to retain and recruit the very, very best. And fortunately, the vast majority of our employees are people that we're all proud with. I'm proud to work with them. I'm going to stand behind them as secretary. And I want the tools that we can make sure we have the very best people in this country serving our veterans.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be brief. We appreciate, again, you being here, and had a very, very good visit with you in the office. And good job. I was going to ask you a question about the opioids that we, talked about in the office, but instead of that, something that's related to that is we also talked about me being very supportive of the VA's adaptive sports programs and think that they should be expanded. Right now, we have the big programs, but to expand them to the smaller communities, the smaller regions, in the sense that if we do those kind of things, then we'll lessen the opioid problems and some of these other things that we're experiencing as a result of veterans just being really difficult situations where they need to get their minds off of things and into something positive. So can you tell us, are there plans to expand the program, perhaps on a smaller scale, to include these areas? And what constraints do you see in expanding the programs on the local and community level?
Yeah.
How can we help?
I didn't appreciate the importance of adaptive sports until I came to the VA, because frankly, I've never been part of a health system that even thought about this as part of healthcare and well-being. But when I got into the mountains of Aspen with 400 veterans and got them part of getting them out of their wheelchairs onto the mountains, it transformed my view of how we can help people. And so the stories that you talk about getting people off of medications, people who are suicidal, to regain a joy in their life and to start living again, were inspirational. I did it again this summer in San Diego with surfing with veterans. I had never surfed before. Pretty incredible experience. So I'm a big believer, because I've seen this. We need to do more of it. We need to get into the smaller communities. And I'm not looking for additional monies from the federal government. What I'm looking to do is to get sponsors, our corporate sponsors, and we have so many of them. There's probably some in the room today, and our VSOs like DAV, who supports our efforts, and many of the other VSOs. I'm looking for us to have other people see how vital this is in transforming people's lives. They're going to want to be part of it once they experience it.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.